Ambrose Manor. We were not expecting company. Please follow. Do not stray from the path.
Don't worry, little fella. We're mostly law-abiding folk.
Gotta admit, that was kind of funny.
Felix!
Something you need?
Wow, Ambrose Manor? Hey, do you think it's haunted? I bet it's haunted.
Big empty window like that? That's gotta be haunted. Oh, wow, I'm getting goosebumps.
This place looks kind of sad. Like it's been waiting for someone to make a home out of it.
It's so empty. Oh, Captain, something here don't feel right.
All right, hushing up.
So who the devil are you? You certainly paint a picture, and I'm certainly intrigued. Do you see that glowing chunk of space rock? That's Gorgon. My birthright, my burden, and the bane of my existence. I hate to drink alone, and this is my third. So join me in raising a glass to Gorgon. To Gorgon. May cosmic winds shepherd her to the nearest star. I'm Wilhelmina Ambrose, but you can keep it short and call me Minnie.
Nice to meet you too. Wow.
Now, what brings you to my house, handsome? I take it you didn't come all this way for the beverages, the starry skies, or the pleasant company. A severed arm. How positively ghoulish. You know this is a private residence, not a curio shop? Lucky Montoya is my personal freelancer. Fascinating man. Very brooding and theatrical. Always staring into space and twirling a bullet over his knuckles.
I could do that. The staring into space part, I mean? I'm still working on the bullet twirling thing.
But if something happened to him... Oh dear. I suppose that makes him my former freelancer now? Thank you. But the people in my orbit come and go all the time. Occupational hazard. What a time for his luck to run out. We were in the middle of something grand, and I really can't afford another setback. Settling an old score. How would you like to be my new freelancer? There's been a recent vacancy, and I think you're well suited to the job.
I could get used to people offering us a job at first glance. Usually they just squint at us all suspicious-like. Or reach for a pistol.
You offer work to everyone who breaks into your home? Must be some kind of Byzantine tradition I ain't know about.
I'm looking for someone rough around the edges. A gorgeous, dashing scoundrel type. Incidentally, someone good with their hands. I like my employees well-groomed. Appearances are everything in high society. The man lost an arm. What are the odds of that happening twice? Of course, Gorgon is a treacherous place, and my own family's involvement with it has been fraught. Allow me to lay out the facts, and you can decide for yourself if you want to be my chief investigator. My mother, Dr. Olivia Ambrose, worked for Spacer's Choice at the Gorgon Research Facility. She was brilliant, the top scientist in her field, until tragedy struck. One day, Spacer's Choice shut down all research and evacuated Gorgon. Everyone had to scramble or risk getting left behind. It was chaos. Employees fled for their lives. Mother never made it home. I'm told she wasn't the only casualty that fateful day.
It must have been real hard on you, losing your mother all of a sudden like that. I'm sorry to hear it, ma'am.
Thank you. Ambrose ladies are supposed to be resilient to the unexpected, but this was especially hard on me. Mother's name has since been dragged through the mud. Spacer's Choice blames her for the collapse of Project Gorgon, and I just know they're lying. Why, indeed? To cover up their crimes? To discredit someone who knew too much? I'm hoping you can find out for me. Mother would not have allowed Project Gorgon to fail. Something happened on that asteroid, and my family took the fall for it. The truth. Mother is gone, Gorgon is silent, and I deserve answers. I don't know. And Spacer's Choice won't say. They don't discuss anything that tarnishes their brand. Gorgon has a dark history. The project fell apart. Personnel were shuffled across the system. With Mother gone, now I'm all that's left. Father lost more than his job on Gorgon. I'll say no more than that. The asteroid may look like a glittering jewel, but I assure you the resemblance ends there. Gorgon is poisonous to the core. One might even say cursed. Whatever happened on Gorgon wasn't Mother's fault. I simply need the evidence to prove it. We're going to drag the truth kicking and screaming into the light. even if it means bringing ruin and humiliation to Spacer's choice. All the evidence I need should be in Mother's journal. You can find it in her office on Gorgon, in the heart of the old research facility. I believe you're the first person to ever side with me against the corporation. It's a refreshing change. When you reach Gorgon, pack a weapon you trust. The corporate lockdown hasn't stopped the wilderness from squirming in through the cracks. I told him everything I've told you. Just the facts. Maybe a couple of harmless embellishments. Why? Still, you're smart to ask. Lucky spent most of our time together spinning a pistol around his index finger. Not sure he listened to any of my advice. But you won't let me down, will you, Captain? There's a little saloon near Gorgon's landing pad, the Sprat Shack. Lucky was renting a room, so if you want to follow his trail, that would be the place to start.
The Sprat Shack? Hope they don't serve real sprats. There's a sprat-worst place on the Groundbreaker. Tried it once, and I was sick for a week.
Oh, you think maybe they got a little mascot? Like a sprat in a tiny hat?
Just so we understand each other, money is no object. I'm willing to squander the family fortune if you get me what I want. Between your payment and any salvage you happen across, you'll walk away from this rich enough to buy a mansion of your own. How does that sound? Finally, I get to put my inheritance to work. Here's your nav key, Captain. Safe travels. Spacer's Choice should be the one apologizing, but thank you. Sincerely. A word of advice before you go, Captain. Trust no one. Mother's office is in the heart of the Gorgon facility. You're free to salvage anything that isn't nailed down. I only want what's mine.
Mysterious heiress, unexpected gainful employment. It's like something out of a detective serial.
Hey boss, what's our policy on getting to know our clients a little better? You think she'd appreciate some company? All right, I can do this. Here goes. Miss Ambrose? Must get awful lonesome up here all by yourself. What do you do for fun? Cause, if you're interested, I've got the full set of Terror on Monarch.
The last thing I need in my life is more corporate propaganda masquerading as entertainment. He is? Oh dear. It's been a while, and I'm out of practice. You seem very nice, and very pretty. And I'm sure there's a wealthy heiress out there who'd be extremely lucky to run away with you. Alas, it isn't me. Are we in agreement?
Hey, no problem. I figured it was worth a shot at least.
That took a lot of guts, Felix.
Hey, thanks. I probably should have written down what I was gonna say on my hand. That usually works.
This unit cannot bring you any
We are now in orbit above Gorgon.
Wow. Look at those stars. Don't it make you feel small in the best way?
Come here. Let's have a chat. All right, inspection time. Look at my eyes for as long as you can without blinking. Starting now. Good. Look up. Now look down. You're doing swell. Now, name and occupation. Good enough for me. You're cleared to pass. That was a sanity check. If you had changed like the others, it'd be in your eyes. You'd also be drooling, cursing, and making a mess of the place. Welcome to the Sprat Shack. You can head on downstairs. Every day, salvagers and scrappers set out to comb the ruins and make their fortune. The ones who come back, they aren't always the same men or women who left. They change. Never for the better. First, they get real twitchy and paranoid, shouting at folks who aren't there. Then they smell like they soiled themselves, on account of how they soiled themselves. After that, they're gone. Nothing but animals wearing human skin. Seen it happen myself. Just don't ask me to dance. Something bad happened here. Spacer's Choice was developing chemicals. The kind with nasty side effects.
Can this colony have one research facility developing something without horrible, face-melting side effects? Is that so much to ask?
Marauders outnumber the rest of us 10 to 1. Either they came from Gorgon, or something draws them here. I don't know which is worse. This place is under a dark cloud, stranger. That's all I know. If you want the history of the Sprat Shack, talk to Lex behind the bar. This is a sublight bar, so the facility's locked up behind miles. Watch yourself out there.
Now this looks like a real dive. Hey, I wonder if they got those floorboards that creak when a stranger walks in.
Oh, ugh. This place smells like Felix's bird.
Welcome to the Sprat Shack. First one's on the house, and I won't even water it down. What'll it be? So, you just wandered in for the genteel conversation. Suit yourself. I assume you're here for salvage. Can't help you there. This ain't exactly a library. Most of my regulars are sublight scavengers. They pick over the ruins of Gorgon. Vicious cycle, but that's life. You're the first new face I've seen in a while. Spacer's Choice used to brew pharmaceuticals in these parts. That's why the asteroid smells like an old gym sock. They say Adrenatime came from here, just down the road at the old R&D lab. Very hush-hush back in the day. I doubt anyone knows the full story. One day the evacuation order went out. Grunts and lab coats scrambled to get anywhere but Gorgon. And the weirdest thing of all, Adrenatime still hit the market. Me, I never touch the stuff. To each their own, but I think it's dangerous. Roscoe might tell you more. He spent some time around here before the bar opened up. I trust him well enough. There's always Leonora, my favorite customer over in the storage room on the second floor. Keeps to herself and always closes out her tab. He's been here since opening day. I think he told me he was some kind of journalist. He got left behind when Spacer's Choice pulled out. And I guess no one's coming to get him. He didn't tell me and I didn't ask. I'm his bartender, not his human resources rep. If you believe the chatter, a lot of good folks got left behind, and a lot of bad folks made it out. Sometimes that's all there is to it. Roscoe's drinks are on the house. He'll be all right. He's with the family. Nice lady. Been coming around a lot these past few months. She isn't with Sublight, but seems to know the lay of the land better than anyone. She spends most of her days drinking alone. You know Lucky? Small asteroid. Now that you mention it, I thought I saw those two sharing stories over a pint. Didn't think twice about it. I don't speak ill of the dead, but Leonora deserves better company. That Lucky was no good for her. Lucky? Sure, I knew him. He could get a little dramatic at times, but he was a good guy. Heard he took on a dangerous job. Spent a lot of time coming and going from the Office of Creative Incubation, just down the road. That's where the top rungers at Spacer's Choice came up with slogans and marketing. Lucky never told me why it was so important. Awful shame about what happened to him. Third floor. Once I figured he wasn't coming back to pay his tab, I left his room unlocked to air it out. You can help yourself to anything you left behind. Fair warning, I've been letting the regulars use it for a quick lie down. Just wash your hands when you're done. Trust me. Be seeing you.
Groundbreaker never had bars this nice. They got balconies and everything.
Huh, who's this now? Wonder if they could... Nah, who am I kidding?
What's the story with this place anyhow?
What have you got there?
Hey, marble! Oh, wait. Nope, that's a human eyeball.
You think they stick the preservative in before or after the eye comes out?
So, how you feeling?
Good. Real
Jerome would have loved this place. You don't look like one of the salvagers, no? Don't really seem like the type. You've got the look of someone who's traveled far to get here and whose journey is far from over. You're kidding, right? This rock is littered with so many journals, logs, and phonographs you could open a library. I don't know if you're bound for the old ruins, but in case you are, can you look into something? I'd do it myself, but of course, the Marauders would eat me alive. Looking for something out there. Been paying Sublight to help me. It is to me, but apparently it's junk to Sublight. My husband and I worked on Gorgon during the good times. Jerome was on maintenance duty. I cleaned out test tubes till they sparkled. That was above my pay grade, but it didn't take a genius to figure out the higher-ups were working on something big. Months after I got out, I saw the advertisements for Adrena time. I just knew. This is it, Leonora. It was all for this. Now that's a story. In his final hours, Gorgon was a war zone. Violence broke out in the labs. The hills were full of marauders. You couldn't take a leisurely stroll without an armed escort. When the order came through to evacuate, non-essential personnel drew a lottery to see who would board the first wave of ships. Jerome won. I lost. As soon as I wasn't looking, Jerome switched our tickets and pushed me to the front of the line. I got to leave. Jerome stayed behind. I never saw him again. A broken heart, that's what. This place is greedy. It took my Jerome, and it would have taken me too. I just want one thing back. His old hip flask. I gave it to him the day we signed our marriage contract, and he carried it wherever he went. I know it's still here. No point in denying it, he died on this rock. Likely torn apart by marauders, unless he took care of himself on his own terms. I don't like to imagine what happened, but I know I have to accept it. I appreciate it, stranger. I don't have much, but if you help me... Jerome used to drink with his buddies in a small kitchen opposite the maintenance shed. Might be a good place to check first. Yeah? That old flirt? Yeah, I let him buy me a drink or two. He talked my ear off about exciting jobs he'd done. All lies, I'm sure. He fell asleep with his head on my shoulder. That man had baggage like you wouldn't believe. I didn't think anyone could be lonelier than me. He bragged about having the key to some sort of maintenance area in one of the old buildings. I never saw it, so I just assumed he was talking himself up. He also asked if I wanted to see something gross and slimy he kept in his room, but I declined, politely. He put on quite a front, but I think he was weird. Guess we were Sure thing. My condolences if you two were close.
Why'd you want to meet me?
You're a humbug, Trixie.